Stephen A., has Draymond Green been overrated?
Well, I wouldn't say overrated. I mean, you can't ignore the fact that the guy averaged 14, 9.5 points, more than 7 assists per game. He averaged 35 minutes a game. He only missed one game all year. He's the Energizer Bunny, and he shows up every night, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. Is he a superstar? Absolutely not. We all know who that is. We know it's Steph Curry. He's one of the greatest shooters in the game, even though he shot close to 38% from three-point range. No, that would be Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. We understand that. And on most teams in most situations, would he be just an average player? Yes, he would. But for this particular team, this particular system, this day and age in the NBA where you've got zone coverages and you can double bigs when even when they're off the ball, when you can foul dudes intentionally when they're not a part of the action. There's so many different things that go on today that didn't go on back in the day. You got to give credit where credit is due. He's benefiting from the times and the systems that are employed in this day and age, but he's taking advantage of them. And let's give credit where credit is due. Let's also remember, we can't ignore how much he facilitates this offense. He's an incredible passer at times. He really makes some really good passes. When you combine that with the fact that his toughness and willingness to get dirty and rebound is augmented by his ability to grab and push the ball up the floor and actually lead fast breaks, so guards like Steph Curry and others are in position to shoot the basketball, he's a vital component to the success of the Golden State Warriors. So if you're looking at his own individual ability on its face and saying, no matter the system, no matter the opponent, no matter the times, you know, Draymond Green is this, that, or the third, then he would be overrated. But that's not what you're looking at. You're looking at the times that we're living in, the system of basketball that's being employed, and the particular team that he plays for. And for this Golden State Warriors team, in this day and age of NBA basketball, he is a star and deserves to be recognized as one because of the multitude of components that he brings to the game. When he's on his game, Golden State wins. When he's not, they suffer tremendously. If the man couldn't play, it wouldn't be the case.
And by the way, he just got, Draymond, the 5th most votes to be on first team All-NBA, but because, as you well know, they require a center on the first team, DeAndre Jordan got that, even though DeAndre Jordan can't make a free throw, so he's on first team All-NBA. I don't get it, but that's just me.
I would have been a DeMarcus Cousins guy. That's just me.
That's fine. I can buy that. But anyway, Draymond got relegated to only the 2nd team All-NBA, which is still pretty great. So what is he in the end? He was the 35th pick in the draft, top of the 2nd round, because he's an undersized forward at 6 feet 7 inches tall who is pressed into duty oftentimes at Golden State into playing center. So I could even make the case that he belonged on the first team All-NBA because he did play some center and more effectively in many ways than DeAndre Jordan played center for the Clippers. Obviously, as you well know, Draymond has been the guts and the glue of this team at 6 feet 7 inches tall, which is exactly how tall Klay Thompson is. But in the end, in this series, as you well know, for once, maybe for the first time, Draymond is getting overwhelmed, overmatched, and frustrated by Oklahoma City's incredible length. They're just too tall and long for Draymond. Obviously, Steven Adams, Cantor, Ibaka, and Kevin Durant, they're just too long for him. Stephen A. is just not that big. And he's not that athletic. He's a really good basketball player, and you read off the numbers. And by the way, he's a 39% three-point shooter, which is pretty great. But in this series, now he's getting frustrated. Now he's playing out of character. There were times last night I was just hiding my eyes. I want to see Golden State win just to get to Game 6, see what happened back in Oklahoma City. And Draymond was a disaster sometimes last night because he's playing so out of himself. He's playing out of character, out of control, trying to make things happen that he couldn't make happen. So My only issues with him in the bigger picture is, you and I have gone back and forth about this, and to Oscar's point, does he talk too much to opponents and referees? I think, to my taste, he does. But he tries. That's how he gets this team going in ways that Steph, who can play pretty nonchalantly, and Clay, who can be pretty unemotional, they're not fire starters. They're not emotional lightning rods. This guy is. So I sort of look the other way at all the talking and the stare downs that he does, because he's a driving force of this team. I don't love it, but I respect it because he plays a role this team needs.
I agree with that. I agree with that. And like I said, he's the Energizer Bunny, and that cannot be diminished.
No.
That's my biggest thing. That can't be diminished by any stretch of the imagination, and I think that can't be ignored.
Does he offend
that's just
you
where we
at
are.
all?
We'll see what happens.
Does it offend you that he talks so much?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. My attitude is that you don't like it, shut him up. I didn't see him talking a lot against Oklahoma City on the road.
Well,
because they shut him up.
Much room to talk. Yeah,
see what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. You know, when you are in the heat of competition, I believe in doing whatever works for you. If it works for you, if it works for you and it's legal and legit, do whatever you can get away with, because in the end, it's working psychologically against the opposition. If they have a problem with it, shut you up. You got to remember, my all-time idol in sports is Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Nobody talked more than him. But if you wanted to do something about it, step in the ring and do it. If not, then deal with it. I believe in that.
Yep, I agree.
Oscar Robertson certainly has a terrific resume, but I don't know if this will be the last time we have the legends of the NBA criticizing the new school NBA.
Sometimes Oscar comes across as a little bit of a grumpy old man, just occasionally.
Sometimes a lot of them
he takes
do.
some shots, man.
Back in the day, in my day.
He does.
Well, let's continue in the NBA. The Rockets have found their man, hiring Mike D'Antoni to be their next head coach. But is this a good hire or not? Stephen A. tells us why he doesn't think so after the break.